All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. I'll see you all are trickling in. We have the 1 minute early crowd. Oh, generally about 10% of you folks show up a little early. I can recognize some of the names in here. As you're coming in, please just drop it in the chat like where you're from and the focus of your business. I'm assuming you're all agencies. That tends to be our list. That's who we talk to. So I didn't want to just say agency in case there are some end clients this time around in here. But yeah, just let us know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, what's your business, and who you serve. And then we'll be able to do some brief intros and get started. I know this is going to be jam-packed today. I'm really, really excited to really introduce like the IPPC world to Brian. I know you're all familiar now at this point with Alex. It's great to have Brian jump up on here. So
thanks, man.
Awesome.
I'm excited to be here and get into it. Every time I've shared this presentation, I don't know how much everyone knows what we're going to get into today, but people usually get really excited about this. It's pretty crazy what you can accomplish with some pretty simple tools. So excited to get into it, man.
What's up, everyone?
Awesome.
I see a bunch of names in here that I've seen for a while. Shout out to Mario McCann. I remember him from like 2017, bro. Like so long. Just it's crazy how long he's been in the space. I see Alan also. We see him pretty often in our shows, which is cool. And a bunch of names that I don't know, which is great. I love that. I think I've seen Frederick Kata a few times and Salinas as well. So really excited to get rolling. Justin, do you want to do like, do you want us to start right now, or do you want to hit the record button and redo like a intro? How do you want to do it?
At the end, we'll do more of an intro if you guys don't mind hanging on at the end, because we're already recording. So we can do just a quick intro there. I think for everybody's people got to see me and Avi just embarrass ourselves at the end, trying to make like a nice little like sound bite. So if you want to see
in there, don't worry. Brian and I literally do that every single week on our show. So every single week, I'm like, yeah, that wasn't good. Let's redo it while everyone's watching live. So
yeah, it's fun.
First and foremost, thanks everyone for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. Grateful for it. Obviously, time is the most valuable asset you have. So we appreciate any time that you're willing to give us. Huge thank you to the IPPC team, Avi and Justin, and everyone else for giving us this platform and allowing us to support you. Just to make sure we don't bury the lead, essentially what we're going to be talking about today is an AI prospecting engine that this incredible wizard, Brian Downard, has put together. The entire prospecting engine can be set up in less than 24 hours and will allow you to send literally thousands of cold emails to your prospects every single day in an automated fashion. The workload that used to take probably roughly like 3-ish hours a day, I would say, is about 10 minutes now per day, which is pretty incredible what AI has been able to do. Keep in mind, and I'll say this for Brian as we go through it, AI can still be finicky. It is certainly not perfect by any means, but when we cast a wide net game, right? If some of the net is a little bit ripped, but 95% of the net is really good, then it's fine. And that's the entire intention of it. Brian's training will probably be like 30 minutes to 40 minutes or so. There's no
a little less. We'll get it. I'll be quick. I'll be a quick hitter today.
We have no ulterior motive. There's no ulterior motive of why we're doing this. For transparency's sake, the reason that we do this is Justin shares our platform with our agencies, which is Prospecting on Demand, and Justin shares his platform with Invisible PPC for us at Prospecting on Demand. In case you don't know who Brian or I are, we run Prospecting on Demand. It's a coaching and mentorship business for marketing agencies that are already established, making at least $10,000 a month, that want to get to $50,000 or $100,000 a month. And we partner with IPPC. They've sponsored our events. They've been a part of our community. So we can support agencies just like you. There is nothing you have to purchase today at all from us whatsoever in order to get this insight. The insight you're going to get is exactly what we have in the members area for our paid community. We're doing this because you guys are part of the Invisible PPC community. If you want to work with us after that, you have the option to reach out to myself or Brian or Jennifer via DMs or whatever, and we'll give you a link to our Facebook group so you can join our show that we do every week on Thursdays. There is no like payment or lead magnet or CTA. We're just going to give you the training, and that's what we're here for. So without further ado, Brian, if you want to dive on in, again, thanks to everyone for being here. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah, let's do it. Justin, is there any housekeeping items you want to make sure we take care of?
Just a few things. The main one being like, this is recorded. We will be sending this out to everybody here as well. So if you can't stay till the end, which I'd recommend, block this out, be intentional with time, hang out. We'll be able to send this to you. So I'm sure I'll get the question anyways later on, but this will
literally
be recorded
25 times
and distributed. If you have questions like throughout it, please try to use the Q&A function versus chat. It's really easy for things to get buried in chat. And I want to make sure if there's burning questions that we see them and we're able to address them. So those are the only two I have. I'll hand it off to you now, man.
Nice. Looking forward to it, guys. So it's funny because we're going to get into is how, like Alex said, to use AI to personalize emails. I'll explain about why all this is important in just a moment. Just kind of maybe a little bit of humor on the front end of this. I see at 12:03 here, TJ On is an AI assistant that introduced itself. So it's a little funny and awkward and strange when AI is like coming into Zoom to introduce, like, what can I interact with that? I'm not going to try, but it's a little quirky. And on the flip side of this too, we are putting together a presentation for POD Live around how to sell one-to-many. This training will be available at a different time. I was trying to get AI to create the images for this. It's like, hey, create an image of a person selling to one person and a person selling to many people. And here's what AI geniusly came up with. What is this chaos?
My favorite one is summer in pillation. Everyone knows the classic tropes of sales, which is summer in pillation. All of us know what that means.
Minus 600 right? Minus 10n is so AI. The joke, is AI is not always perfect, guys. Alex already alluded to this. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. We can get it 95% of the way there because using AI, and it's actually gonna be a lot more intelligent, hopefully, than what I just showed you, and it will be. I've seen this in action already. Is when you personalize messages that you are sending, your response rate can skyrocket, right? We're talking 2 to 3 times the amount of positive replies to a personalized message. Now, in the past, you've either had to do this yourself or pay a VA to do it for you. It's very time consuming. So what I want to show you today is how to use ChatGPT and Google Sheets, kind of marry those two things. We're going to give it a very simple, clear prompt. And I'm going to actually give everyone here on this call, if you hang out to the end, the SOP totally for free. I haven't actually given this SOP out in too many places other than our private community. We've done this in other groups, but because this is more of like an intimate setting, you're a part of this community, you're just going to get the SOP. So stick around. I'm going to give it to you guys. I'm going to open it and show you, and I'm going to give it to you at the end so you don't go grab it and get too distracted. But everything is in here, the prompts and all of that. The one big asterisk I will have at the beginning of this is going to be under the assumed knowledge, you know how to get an email outreach prospecting system going in general. What I mean by that is I'm not going to cover on this call how to go buy a domain, how to warm up emails, how to necessarily write all of the sequences. We've done a lot of great trainings on that. I'm more than happy to link you guys up with some of those that we've done in the past to get your email system going. This is really like, hey, once I have the system going, how do I layer on AI to that to make it even more powerful? So just so I know everyone is here, focused, paying attention, and excited for this, please drop a 7 in the chat if you're ready and you're ready to get into it.
Real quick, also, before we get started, a couple quick notes. In terms of if we oversimplify business scaling, this is something that we talk quite a bit about. We want to make sure everyone gets it, right? Oversimplifying your agency or SaaS scaling comes down to 3 elements, right? Booking calls, closing deals, fulfilling the service. By working with IPPC, you have the fulfilling service model handled. Closing deals, IPPC and I have done already, I think, 2 separate trainings we did, Justin, that you guys can look at and ask the IPPC team for. We did the one called Close and Closing Mastery. So you guys can check that out. Again, just free training on how to sell more effectively. Today, we're going to go and focus on that first bit, which is booking the actual calls. And this is really important because we hear this quite a bit, Justin, like, oh, I have a sales problem. And so the prerequisite question of I have a sales problem is, oh, how many calls did you have booked? And they're like, oh, 5 in the last month. Well, that's not a sales problem, right? I mean, you probably can get better at sales, but you only have 5 opportunities in general. That's not nearly enough, right? Our minimum KPI and goal for people that are trying to get to at least $25,000, $35,000, $50,000 a month in recurring revenue, you need to have at least 1 quality call booking every single day, meaning 5 per week, roughly 20 per month. And if you're closing at a like 25-30% rate, you'll be able to scale to those numbers pretty substantially and sustainably. Just remember, this is not a race. You're not racing against anyone else. You're not competing against anyone else. You have to dictate what you want to get from this, whether you want to send hundreds of messages or thousands of messages. But Brian is going to give you the details and data that you need here on this session to book more calls through AI prospecting. It's pretty amazing. In terms of the SOP, here would be my only ask. If you can drop your Facebook link below, like your Facebook, we can send it to you directly, would be a lot better. We'll still drop it here for you guys, but that would be really helpful so we can get it over to you and make sure that
we'll have Jen do that so he doesn't get lost in the Zoom chat.
Drop your Facebook link and we'll send you the SOP. Brian, Take it away, my man.
Nice. All right, guys. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get into it. So I'm going to give you guys just a quick overview of what this looks like, and then we're going to go into some of the execution. This is actually going to probably be more like a 15 to 20 minute training all in all. Maybe a little longer. We'll see how long-winded I get. I should be pretty quick hitter, but then we can answer any and all questions you guys have. And yeah, we can also pause throughout, honestly, take questions. Totally fine to do that. Justin, I'll let you kind of field the chat and we're going to get into it. All right. So overview. First thing we need to do is actually get some prep and setup work in place, right? A couple of simple things like actually getting a lead list together. We're going to talk about it. We need to actually get and integrate a ChatGPT account with Google Sheets. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then this is really where the magic happens, right? This is the fun part. You're going to see how we can use these pre-written prompts, which I'm going to give you, to tell ChatGPT what we want it to go do. And in this case, it's going to be to write a personal opener for an email. And then from these prompts, it'll create our list. We're going to export that newly created or newly updated lead list, right? You got a lead list. You made it better with this personal opener, you're going to see. And now we can take that and import it into whatever platform you'd like. So in this SOP, I walk through a simple way how you can do this inside of Go High Level. I'm going to recommend, if you don't feel super confident in Go High Level yet, you're just looking like, I just want to start doing some kind of email outreach, Brian, use instantly.ai. They only do email warmups and email outreach. So in my opinion, it's a lot easier to kind of wrap your head around and get started if you're a little bit newer. Love GHL to do all the things. If we just want to do one thing really well, that's email outreach, I would recommend Instantly for that. Cool. All that being said, hopefully that's not blasphemy here. No one share that recording anywhere. I'm just kidding. But this SOP does have the GHL setup, because what you need to do is, with your personal opener that you created, essentially you need to create a tag, and it's called a custom field, right? Where now you're telling Go High Level, hey, in my lead list, these columns of personal openers, take that and put it in these emails so you can do this in mass. So that was a little bit of an overview of how this works. I'm going to get into some details now. I'm excited to get into it, fam. So first thing you want to do is build a bare bones lead list. The bare bones lead list I have in these examples, I'm just even go with less information. I'm just going to go with a straight up website, because that's all I really need to kind of show you what's happening here. But essentially, there's different places you can get a lead list, right? I'm not going to go into detail on how to build one, but you have apollo.ai. I think that's a really useful platform when you've got a more specific group of people you're looking to find. And then other platforms like D7 Lead Finder are really great platforms where you can get, if your audience is a bit wider, right? Like lawyers, dentists, HVAC, where it's a bit more broad. If you've got someone more specific, Apollo is going to be my recommendation. I'm going to actually share my full screen here so I can just show you guys everything as I'm downloading this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lead list, I'm going to download it, I'm going to import it into Google Sheets. I'm actually going to be trying a little bit something different today, so I'm excited to test this AI. I have an example that I know will work and be really cool, but we're going to try and throw a curveball here live to the AI and see what it can do for us. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go back to my SOP. I basically want to open up and clean up my lead list and create the columns I need for the personal opener, right? So let's go make that happen. I'm going to go into, you're already seeing a little bit of a preview, a little hint here, so bear with me for a moment and you'll see it all in action. So what I want to do is I'm going to upload my lead list. These are lawyers in Austin, Texas. Pretty straightforward stuff.
I know Austin, Texas.
I know, that's where I pulled it from. And I figured we'd have a nice variety of lawyers down there to choose from.
Oh,
so all of this stuff, I'm gonna kind of just delete. Sorry, I got to move some of the Zoom things out of my way. Our pretty faces. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna freeze row 1. So that doesn't go anywhere. I don't really care about most of this stuff, if I'm being honest, guys. Like their email host, don't care. Need their website URL, don't care about this or this. All of these columns I can delete. If I was doing social outreach, like sure, I could utilize this, but really I'm just looking for the things I need for this example. So I'm going to actually delete all of these columns. And what you can do also as kind of like just an additional kind of hack or idea One of my favorite parts about D7 Lead Finder, especially if you're running an agency that offers pay per click, you know, Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever. And I'm assuming if you're here on this call, you do offer that of some kind. You can actually filter by who is running ads and who is not. Now, apparently in my account, I need to upgrade. That's so funny because if I log out, they will show me this on their homepage. Let me just show you guys. It's kind of an aside, but super helpful to know. So I'm gonna just go to an example. Let's see, landscaping in Baltimore. Probably brutal. That was a mean joke. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go to view leads here. I mean, it's Baltimore, it's cold there. So I'm just gonna use this though, because what it will do, and even landscaping in my example is probably not the best, but cool, I'm gonna try this anyways. You can filter by who is running ads, right? So what I just did is I can actually see who in this lead list and on what platform they're running ads. A lot of them are on Yelp. Okay, that's a good indication. Maybe Yelp ads is something worth selling if you're going after this audience, but they're on Facebook, Instagram, and then you can scroll down here. Here's all the people who aren't advertising. Why is this valuable? A lot of times, especially with paid ads, it's easier to get people to move money around that they are already spending on ads than it is to convince someone who isn't spending at all to make the leap, right? These people already understand the value in advertising, and a lot of them probably want to be able to do it better. So just kind of an aside, as you're building out lead lists, I would probably be focusing on the ones who are running ads. We're just going to use this one as an example here. Cool. So I got my lead list. Obviously, if I'm being really methodical about this, I need to delete anyone who doesn't have an email. I'm actually going to, I think all of them have websites. It's pretty impressive. That's really surprising, actually. Look how long this lead list too is, guys. Holy crap. So all these people down below this, they would be deleted because they don't have emails or websites. Okay, so delete, done, clean list. All right, so let's talk about now how to get you set up with ChatGPT and Google Sheets, right? So what you're going to need to do is you need a pay-as-you-go plan on OpenAI. OpenAI is the company who owns ChatGPT. I'm not going to claim to be an AI expert. I know how to use it for this use case, but they make this a little complicated in some ways. So I provided you guys the direct link here in the SOP because they bury this. If you go onto the site, there should be, instead of cancel payment, it can be sign up for a pay-as-you-go plan. It's ridiculously cheap. I'm talking like fractions of pennies for really using the crap out of this platform. So worthwhile to sign up. I think I've run thousands of leads. After running thousands of leads for this, it cost me like $9. So you guys can it's not expensive.
But Brian, $9 whole to make thousands of dollars in sales. Do I really
do it, guys? Gotta spend a little bit. It's worthwhile though, I promise you, because you can reinvest that money you make obviously into more scalable things, hiring people to do this for you, running paid ads. This is all a means to getting to that point. So what I want to show you guys now is very simply, like if you've ever connected one piece of software to another, essentially you need to create a API key. So I gave you guys the direct link. I have an API key created. Okay, cool. Paid for Chat GPT and have an AI key. Now I need to go into Google Sheets. So let's say you're here in your lead list. You can go over to, and this is all in the SOP, so don't worry about it, extensions, add-ons, manage add-ons, and then this is the one you're looking for. GPT for Sheets. I believe it's the first one. If you just go to the App Store, like it's just the first one because it's so freaking popular. And I'm probably would blow all of our minds to see how other people are using this in Sheets, but we'll get across that bridge another day. And essentially what this does now is gets you connected to your Google Sheets over to ChatGPT. Cool. Like I said, there is an API key you need to add into here. So you go to API keys. Essentially, you're just going to copy and paste your key you got from ChatGPT over into your spreadsheet. So pretty straightforward, guys. Want to make sure everyone's with me so far. Just please drop a 7 in the chat because we're about to get to the cool part. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page here so far. Love it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. What you just wait, Justin. Oh, you said it was you, Justin. This is great. You're gonna love this in a second. Okay. Everyone else.
You're like, you just wait, Justin.
You just wait. Oh wait, it is you. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go back to a sheet that I have already created because I know this one will work pretty flawlessly. And then we're going to test the lawyers because I just want to see what it can do live here on the fly. But essentially what we're doing now, and I'm going to actually jump around just a little bit, so bear with me. I needed to add a column here, which I didn't. I'll just swap these. The column is going to be called personal opener. Okay, and that is where we're going to actually prompt ChatGPT to go create this personal opener for us. And when I go back into here, cool. You can ignore this part for now. This would be like if you're doing any e-commerce outreach, and yeah, if you're doing e-com outreach. Sorry, I was just reading a DM here from Alex. He's trying to distract me. I got you, man. No problem. And not necessary for everyone here. This is really the prompt that I want you all to consider. Okay. We're going to read it together here. It's a little funny, but bear with me. Essentially, we're going to tell ChatGPT the following things. We're going to say, visit that website. And when we're saying that website, it would be whatever the website is in this column, right? So in this example, D34 would be, hey, D34, going to go look at that website. Cool. We're telling ChatGPT to go into the internet. A little scary. We're sending AI out there, but it's okay. It's going to come back and it's going to be super helpful. And we're giving it some rules, right? We don't want it to create anything too crazy. We want to really focus its output. So we're saying rule number 1, write a compliment about their top product or service or the business itself. Rule 2, be specific and say something that can only be said to this company without being awkward. Rule 3, refer to the business as you or your. That's important. You'll see why in a moment. Rule 4, write one short sentence. Rule 5, start the sentence with my team and I like. Rule 6, write with the understanding this is a resort. This is, again, you need to change this out based on who you are reaching out to. In this example, I'm going to show you it's resorts. I'm going to change this, though, to be lawyers when we do it for that example. And then this was a kind of a fun thing one of our clients had suggested we add, and it worked really well, telling the AI to go find something obscure on their website that could be complimented, because we're looking for it to be different, right? Sometimes, like certain industries, we've tested veterinarians, it spit out the same thing for almost every single one. That's going to happen. And frankly, it's still better than nothing, but it's not going to be flawless. So what I want to do now is I'm going to show you this in action, and then we're going to go test it on some of these other things. So what you can see here is we already have this prompt written out here inside of Google Sheets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this little corner here. If you hold and drag this, it'll take that formula, if you will, or that prompt, and it'll apply it to all these other leads, right? Cool. This is where the magic starts to happen. It feels anticlimactic as it starts to spit it out because it happens so fast and you're not even really sure what's going on, but it's pretty wild what you're seeing happen right here, right now. You can start to see how it is for each one of these businesses pulling a unique aspect that it found about that brand on their website. Now, a lot of these are ski resorts, so it may be similar, but look, it's pulling out for this one. We love how the Coop offers unique immersive experiences like yoga, meditation, and even a virtual reality escape. That can't be said about every single other hotel, right? That is super cool, personalized, and unique. And if you go through all these, we're talking about snowmobiling or snowshoeing, a private pool and spa for each room, unique and memorable experience, golf, guided nature walks, outdoor movie theater. This is crazy, guys. This is literally just did the work of what it would take you or a VA many hours to do, and just did it before our eyes before I could even finish my sentence. 10 seconds, 30 seconds. So this is wild. And I really feel like this is where now the power of this comes out, because now we can go send people on this lead list an email that speaks to them. It's more personal, and it's going to just skyrocket what you're able to do in terms of your response rates. So really powerful stuff here. Let's now, for fun, try this with lawyers. I'm very curious to see what it spits out. And you guys are going to all see live here how this works. So I'm going to copy and paste this prompt. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change this, not D34. This is D2. And I need to change the rule here. This is a lawyer. And we're going to see what happens. So it's going to just load one for now. Let's see what it spits out. Like how John Aiken Austin provides a wide range of legal services from family law to meet the needs of their clients. Okay, so interesting. Let's see what happens if I do, let's call 37 of them. See what it spits out. Okay, let's go. Let's go, ChatGPT. You surprised me. I like this. So again, it's picking out certain things they do. I just saw one talk about doing different types of law. So one was like real estate law, and you can see, by the way, some of these are pretty similar, provides a comprehensive overview. But here we go, estate planning to business law, or like, hey, you provide a comprehensive overview of the services you offer. Now, could this be said to another law firm and it's not the most personalized thing? Absolutely, but it's something, right? It still went to their site and took note of something. So it's pretty crazy, guys. I totally agree. I'm down to, while we're hanging out and chatting, try this with another space. If you guys want to just drop in like an example of a niche you think that's kind of fun or different or weird, we can test it. And then while I wrap up the training, we'll let the lead list build out. All right.
I knew Yvonne was going to say it. I knew Yvonne was going to say it. She already had her niche ready to go.
I am totally down. They were the first ones to put something in the chat, so they ask and you shall receive.
I want to add a couple quick things to this as well as we're going through this that I think is really important.
Look, I'm training the AI right now. Just so everyone knows, I'm sorry, I'll just cut you off.
You're fine.
What these things are that I learned, this is how they train AI vehicles. So every time you're doing this, you're actually teaching AI vehicles to be a little bit smarter, which is, there's just a lot of weird AI like things layered into this conversation today. So I'm done. Alex, go ahead.
No, you're good. It's all good. This model that we're talking about, right? It obviously requires a little bit of setup, but as you can see, I mean, Brian was able to set this up roughly in like 15 minutes or so. He's done it many, many times. So give yourself a little bit more grace as you go through the SOP and the process. And also remember, like, technology sometimes has its faults, so it's not always perfect. So just give yourself grace is really important. But expect, like, if you put an hour in the calendar, there's no reason that you won't be able to get this set up. And then using Instantly, which is what we recommend for the email sending, you can send out literally hundreds to thousands of emails. The one recommendation that we wanted to just make sure is added is understanding expectations for cold emailing. The previous cold email models that we've seen have worked best is the very, very short form email. This is the opposite of that, because what we're doing in this email is the more custom / personalized email. You can definitely try a lot of prompts that will mix and match them. Like, give me a short but personalized message, right? Like, you can do the same type of prompt. But what we found is pretty consistently asking about capacity or those types of things previously was the thing that would work in large net prospecting. There's one major thing that we have found has been most effective in cold email prospecting, and that's following up with a caller. Now, there's no like AI caller that we recommend. There is plenty of them, just none of them are good in my opinion. They all have this very weird uncanny valley-esque thing to it that I just feel is very strange. But in general, if you consider the amount of money you're saving by not having to have someone actually man the emails because it's just automated for you versus paying someone to do some follow-up calls or you doing the follow-up calls yourself, it's going to increase the chances of success significantly because you have something to baseline the call off of. And if you haven't watched us like do warm call training and stuff when you're part of our group, like we have a ton of videos about how we do calls and actually do like live calling. But you can do this without any calling. Just keep in mind, even with personalized recommendations, you shouldn't expect some massive amount of responses. The benefit of the tool is that you can send thousands of emails much faster than you would anything else, and you'll still get a smaller amount of responses. But like 1 to 5% is usual to get responses on, which I know might sound bad, but when we're talking about a huge amount of emails, it's not too bad in terms of the opportunities you're going to get when you're trying to sell a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 package. So just keep that in mind.
Cool. And Alex, real quick, before we jump back in, what was the tool that you had mentioned? Someone asked what the
Instantly is what I like personally. Okay. If we're just talking about solely doing cold email outreach and warming up emails. Now, what's really interesting is even if you want to use Go High Level for your email outreach, I would still probably recommend instantly to warm your emails up because they make it pretty seamless. So that's one of the biggest pain in the butts about email outreach is getting the emails and domains and things warmed up. Instantly has got a really great platform for doing that.
Yeah. One really important note regarding emails as well, just in case anyone here has never done it before, this is extremely important. I'm going to say, make sure you are listening to this. Do not ever use your main domain for cold emails, ever. There's too much risk associated with potentially getting banned by Google. It's very unlikely, but even if you don't get banned, there's also shadow banning, essentially the terminology of like most of your emails go to spam or promotions folder instead of inbox. Do not use your main domain. Buy a different domain that's similar to the one you have. Do not use your main email. Don't know how more explicitly clear we can be on this.
We need to put like red text, like warning, do not.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It'd be a big
here
mistake.
at the top of our email training. Like that's pretty much, that's the first, that's step 1.1 is don't use your main website. So we got you guys covered. And yeah, it's when I say warm up, and I take that for granted because people might not know what that means. Essentially, when you buy a new domain and get a new email address, you can't just start sending the maximum amount of emails per day. Most email platforms allow each email to send about 50 emails. I still probably wouldn't be maxing it out. I'd probably still only be sending about 40-ish, 35 per account. Because when you're sending the max per account and then it's a brand new domain, those send red flags to Google. Hey, this is spam, shut it down. So what you need to do is when we say warm up, it's a slow process. And again, when I say slow, not necessarily slow. It can be a 4, 5, 7 day process, sometimes a little longer, depending on the domain and what happens instantly. But when I said slow, I really meant like a gradual, not necessarily slow, a gradual process of increasing the amount of emails you send every single day. So you're at the point of, hey, now I can send 30, 40 per email per day. And usually start around like the 2 to 3 to 5 mark, but instantly it'll do all this stuff for you. Again, guys, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of like setting up your emails because it's kind of like something we can definitely give you guys trainings on. I'm actually hint, scrolling through that SOP right now. Come back later if you want to see it. But anyways, I'm going to jump over to the rest of this training and a couple more scripts that I'm going to say, hint, wink, wink, like come back to this recording, screenshot these outreach scripts because you can use these in tandem with the personal opener, right? These are just example and frames you can use. So back to our training in particular, what essentially is going to happen next is you need to go into your platform of choice. So in high level, I'm going to try not to look too ignorant as I do this. So let's go into high level and find out. I may need Alex to get a login code.
You just cost them a click.
Did I really?
That was their ad. Oh my God, I died inside for a second. I was like, no.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. They're good. It's okay. I'll buy them a drink at the event.
Exactly.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into an account here. I'm going to switch to, believe one of our test accounts here. I'm just going to go prospecting.
One that says snapshot testing account, maybe.
We have a lot of them, right?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm going to do it now because you said so.
Okay.
All right. So what we're going to do is we got to go into settings. We got to go to custom fields. We actually have to tell whatever platform we're using. You can do the same exact thing and instantly like, hey, this thing is this personal opener. When you find that, and I will add this tag in the email, insert that message essentially, right? So field name, I'm going to call it personal opener. And then let's see what else it requires me to do. Group, contact, say general info. Totally fine. Okay, so I had already created it, right? Personal opener is in here somewhere already. Great. So what happens is, good thing we use this one, Alex. You're right. This is where it was already done as an example. When you go into your automation and you create a campaign for this, you need to then assign that tag, right? So here's essentially the tag from the custom field that I just created. And then now when I import my lead list and I assign this column, personal opener, to that custom field, when you have your email written, like I just was showing you guys, you have an email written here, Now it will take that line from the lawyers, put it in here, you're off to the races. So it's actually pretty straightforward and simple to get this going, guys. It's not overly complicated. I'd say it's a little bit more complicated to get the email system going as a whole first. Once you got it going, this is an amazing thing to layer on and take advantage of. So I'm more than happy to do some Q&A if you guys want to collect some of those, and maybe in the meantime I can just test this lead list I got here and see what happens, just for fun. So Justin, you want to throw some questions my way while we play around with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So people start getting some questions in as Brian starts doing this thing. But yeah, I think I asked for clarification on one of Heidi's questions. I didn't know if it was a technical email question or more of like a strategy question for cold, like for cold emails. So I'm going to assume the latter. She was asking how many emails should you be sending to? Because Alex gave that stat of 1 to 5% of people will reply to cold emails. If you're kind of getting this thing off the ground and building a lead list, is there a target number you should be shooting for?
Really great question. So the answer is it's going to depend a little bit again on the size of the market you're going after. If you have a huge wide net you can cast, I would be starting to get to the goal of 150 to 200 emails a day just to start, right? And what that looks like is about somewhere in the ballpark of 4 to 5 emails under one domain. You probably get it with 4 emails under one domain. You warm all of those up over a 1 week, 10-day process, and then you can gradually get them all to about that 40-ish sends per account. So you're in the ballpark of 160 emails a week. That's where I would start if you have a pretty big net. If you've got a much smaller group of people you're trying to go after, you want to be careful and considerate of how quickly will you exhaust that list. And if the answer is almost right away by sending just a few dozen emails, okay, we need to consider additional channels that we would layer on to this to get in front of those people, because we don't just want to burn through the list, no one reply, or like maybe get a couple of replies like, well, it's over, it's done. No, we need to, I like to use the example that like the smaller the list of people you have to reach out to, the more channels by which you need to reach out to them through. Absolutely. If you have one person you need to reach, you would do anything in the world to get a hold of that person. You'd fly to them, you'd send them mail, like whatever you had to do. But if it's like hundreds of thousands, okay, we can afford to churn through some lists a little quicker.
Brian, can you stop sharing your screen? I want to show Heidi something and the rest of everyone.
I'm going to play with this while she's doing that.
So this is a cold email cheat sheet we have inside of POD. And this is a warm-up guide. So you can see exactly how we recommend it. Again, Instantly does warm-ups for you, but just in case you wanted to see this, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I'm not going to read it for you. You can literally see what it says. And I think this is a really valuable also consideration because, Justin, we only spoke about the reply rate expectation, which, again, that is a very variable number based on the message that you're sending, the number of messages you're sending, like, et cetera. But in general, before you can have anyone respond, they have to open it and it has to be sent to their inbox. And this is key. So on standard emails, if you're getting a 20 to 50% open rate, it's pretty solid. If you're getting lower than 20%, this is key. You are likely going to spam. If you're going to spam, your cold email is not going to work. I mean, there's no other way to say it. You could send 10,000 cold emails in 2 months. And if all of it goes to spam, you're probably not going to get like any responses. Literally, the chances of people just think of it yourself. Everyone that listening to this call on recording and live, how many times in the last 6 months have you looked at your spam folder for more than 5 minutes?
Only when I lose an important email.
I would probably contend never, never, unless you're prompted by someone that, like, Justin sends a welcome email. He's like, did you check promotions? Like that's the only time you're looking at it, So it's very unlikely that you're going to have success if you're getting it into spam.
Yeah, no, that's a really good call out there. Thanks for sharing that, Alex. Another question. This is more about overall strategy. So how you kind of like kind of fold in the email promotion strategy side of things, or the cold email side, with other things like, a couple with looms, cold calling, those things. So the question is, like, what's your opinion on combining this type of automated cold emailing personalization strategy with the other stuff?
Alex looks like he's chomping at the bit to take this.
I know, he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
So in
I'll let you take it.
In 2017, I wrote this PDF that we ran ads for a while. It was like the main ad, Justin, that we had run for prospecting on demand for probably like a year, I would say. And it's called the Perfect Prospecting System. Now that you're saying this, I think I should like redo it and send and do the whole ad again. But as you guys know, like writing out lead magnets that are actually worth something is so much effort. So definitely require a huge upgrade because it's old now, because 5 years old or more than that, right? It's almost 7 years old. Wow. But anyways, in general, the concept that Brian and I were talking about back then was called carpet bombing, the carpet bomb approach, which is essentially this combination of strategies. One thing for sure that we do not advise ever is Loom prospecting without the request. So like a very common outreach methodology that we see in the space today that's recommended or that people are trying to do that's unique is, hey, like I made this custom video for you. The problem is when you do the rate, like the hourly rate of like how many people actually even see the video at all, because Loom tells you who opens it, the amount of opens on the video is so low that you took 5 minutes per video to do, and you did 100 videos, 500 minutes, X amount of hours, all the hours to send it, just never worth it. Looms are only effective after someone's replied because the chance is significantly higher, but we just don't recommend looms at all in prospecting anymore. It doesn't mean you can't try it, right? And we're just suggesting in terms of what we've done and seen for agencies, it's just not effective. We also want to make sure this is clear that everything we teach in outbound prospecting, right, is based off of the concept that you take profit from the sales that you make in your outbound prospecting engine in order to invest in paid advertising, right? You run a marketing agency asking your clients to spend money on ads. That's what you're working with InvisiblePPC for. You need to run ads for your agency. If you are already making $10,000 a month in your agency, you need to be spending at least $1,000 a month on ads, period. End of story. If you are under $10,000 a month and don't have money to spend on ads, then outbound is great. We still also recommend to have outbound regardless of how much money you're making, because outbound is always a good way to test new strategies and everything. What you're asking for, Mr. Anonymous or Mrs. Anonymous attendee, it's a pretty like harmless question to ask anonymously, by the way, but just in general, like would we prioritize any of these methods in a particular order? The answer is no. Like no, the recommendation is going to be sending out your cold email, reaching out on Instagram, on Facebook, and LinkedIn, and calling. If you're going to simplify it, Brian and I are always going to go with email, call every single time. The one that we don't see on this message that Brian and I have recommended quite a bit, that's a very unique angle, but we don't see it very often, is on people's websites, they have a contact us form. And it's a little bit of a different inbox message than a standard email. Because if you have an inbox form, like contact us on a law website, they get a different notification than a standard cold email, right? So if I send a cold email to a prospect that's an attorney that's like, hey, are you at capacity for your cases in Q4? If they respond to that, whatever, like no, and I could reach out to them, it's great. But if I send them a contact us message, right, on their website, they're going to get a different email from their domain provider that's like, hey, you have a new lead, right? That's a totally different way to connect with them. So even if I send a cold email and message on contact us, that's something that you also want to be considerate of. But there's no necessarily right or wrong methodology. It's just we strongly believe you shouldn't be doing cold looms just because it's too risky. Do calls is really great. And then just like one additional little note that you might not consider is the contact us forms. Brian, I'm not sure if you want to add anything to that.
Sure. The only thing is I talk about the concept of manufacturing luck and shortening the sales process. What we're showing you here is still a way for you to hide essentially behind your computer. The ways to condense the sales process and get people to act on decisions quicker is always going to be the phone call. So I don't love cold calling, don't really recommend it, but following up these emails with a phone call and referencing that previous touch point as a warm touch point will kind of get you a little bit of a foot in the door. And even in person works fantastic as well, right? Because it's a lot harder to say no to that if you're walking in with the donuts. And I know it's like awkward and uncomfortable, but guys, like if you're in a place where I want to make money right now, are you just saying that and hiding behind emails and your social media accounts and hoping people come to you, or are you going to people and forcing the conversation politely, of course? So I'm going to just really quickly to wrap this up, kind of just show you guys, this is a good example, right, of how I had to massage the message a little bit to get it to work. So I have the auto body repair shops here. I essentially put it in for a couple of these, and it just started spitting out the same thing. I like the quality. I like the quality. I like the quality. And because in this initial message, I changed it up a little bit to say, compliment their top auto repair service. I wrote right from the understanding this is a car repair shop. And then a rule that I added because it said, I like the quality, I like the quality, I like the quality, is I added this rule: don't write about the quality of their repairs. So it spit out a little bit better of, hey, you specialize in collision repair, because I asked it to say like, focus on a specific, there you go, try and find a specific auto or type of auto body repair they focus on that could be complemented, right? And don't talk about the quality. So I just tested that. Let me try again to just run it down this list, which you may need to, based on what ChatGPT is spitting out, change up the prompt a little bit. And I may need to think a little bit, but it's fun to, okay, so paint services, repair and refinishing, mobile auto body repair. So still not perfect, but solid, right?
Yeah, I like the specialization they have in there, like truck and trailer, like in heavy duty truck and trailer repair. Like that's a good call out. Shows you know what they're up to. And
yes,
Yvonne's like ding ding ding. She knows the space well. Cool to see.
Exactly. So, by the way, this list of, what did we say, those auto body repair shops in Chicago was over 1,000, and I cleaned it up, and I still think there's 500. So, like, massive audience here, for sure. So, guys, this has been the workshop. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole. I want to give you guys just enough to be really successful at this and go run with it. I think you guys probably saw this in the chat, but if you want us to send you the SOP, just drop your Facebook profile link, and our awesome friend and teammate here, Jen, will grab that and take care of you guys.
Awesome. I know we still have a few more questions if you guys have time. If you're
absolutely, dude. That's all here for you.
Awesome. Yeah. And Alex, yes. Feel free to share that after the fact. Go
absolutely.
So I know Heidi has her hand raised. Heidi, do you want to talk so I don't mess up your question, or do you want me to just read
the Heidi? I think I know
it is the Heidi. It is. It's
I'm gonna allow her to talk. Let's Heidi, welcome in.
It's me.
Hey, Heidi.
A blonde thing, because I know I forgot. You had mentioned before, get a number of different domains and then make a number of different email that sounds like your name, a little bit of variations. How many of those should we, how many domains and how many different variations?
Yeah. So people who I trust that are a lot better than me at this stuff typically say their rule is no more than 3 emails per domain, but I'm not as maybe OCD about that. I think you can go closer to 4 or 5 as long as you're not sending 50 emails per account. So for you, honestly, I would just start with 1 domain. So if you have abcagency.com, I'd get like abcagency.co or something like that as your domain. And then you can get 3 to 4 emails associated with that 1 domain. To start there, right? Get comfortable figuring out how that works. And then once those are all humming along, cool, we can talk about getting a few more.
Yeah, and remember, the recommendation is to try not to send more than 100 emails per day per account, so you don't get into the spam filters.
Okay, wonderful. And also, I have a question for Justin. I know we've talked about this in the group too, but I'm interested in learning how I can work with Justin and how I could present it. I signed up for your class and I started watching some of the things, but.
Awesome. Well, I'll send you a message. It's my personal calendar. We'll just jump on a call.
Okay.
And I can get to learn a little bit more about what you're doing, and then we can support you there.
Okay. Yeah, Brian and Alex rave about you constantly.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Because he's so damn handsome. Look at this guy. Anyways, what can I do about it? Jeez.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the hats. It's a hat thing. We see someone else with a hat on. We're like, oh
yeah.
It's the hat thing.
Well, mine's like the keeps isn't working yet, so like I still gotta do
Dude, I'm done. I'm done. It's over.
I won't make you guys feel bad. Mine is too long right now, so.
I hate you.
Anyways.
Is there any other questions anyone
There's
has?
one more question I had, and it's more about the strategy. I was gonna answer it in the chat, but then I didn't want to like look like a dummy if I'm wrong. Right.
Sure.
Ooh, that is some flow you got there, Brian. So really is for this type of strategy, using this type of email outreach, you're like, what does it work best to kind of drive? Is it driving conversations? Is it driving sales? Is it driving conversions, lead magnets, things like that? Like what's the best hook, I guess, and for the conversion action?
Love it. So a lot of times people are going to be asking to do a call. It's a little too much of a commitment. What I want to find out is if your call to action should be if they are open to the idea of a call. So what I want to do is one of two things. I either want to, one, ask if they are open to a call. So, hey, would you be open to a quick phone call about this? So not, hey, can we do a phone call, but would you be open to? The subtlety is important because I just want them to agree to the idea of a call. I don't need them to necessarily book a call right then and there. It was what a very, not very wrong, but a best practice you should avoid. I'm trying to think of what's the opposite of a best practice. A worst practice? A worst practice would be just sending a calendar link, right? That's too much of an obligation. They don't know you. Like, you're gonna have to go book on some stranger's calendar. Like, what is this for? Like, you want to get them to be open to the idea of a call first. So I would either have my call to action be that, or a curiosity question. And curiosity questions typically work better on social media when it's a little more casual of a conversation. With email, it can kind of be not an ad, but like an ad, and people kind of get that. So you can be more blunt and direct. Social media is a little more conversational. So a curiosity question could be like, hey, how far out are you guys currently booked? Right? As your as the very last message, like, hey, we partner with roofers to get them. Or let me actually give you a good example, because we just work with our partner. I'm sorry, new client in the space. That's a good example for athletic clubs. So they're like, hey, we help athletic clubs build a local wait list for their members. Do you currently have a large wait list, or is it open? So it's a curiosity question about the offer that we're making, and it's a good way to, again, get them to respond. But I don't want to play 21 questions back and forth. I want to pretty quickly make the offer to see if they're open to a phone call. These are two ways you can kind of wrap it up. I wouldn't send them like a resource. Personally, wouldn't send them a Loom video or a calendar link. Like, I know the idea of like sending a Loom video is extra custom, but really it's just an obligation for them to go do something and already in their busy life from a stranger. And you think in your mind, I'm being valuable. I sent a 5-minute video about their website, and they're like, what is this 5-minute video from? Who do you, what is it? Oh shit, I gotta get, and then it's gone. You know what I mean? So be really straightforward. Alex, you're muted. Still muted.
Oh, my bad. I want to add one thing as well, which is this idea of like, what's the like right message and the right angle. At the end of the day, like if Brian and I had it truly, we would tell you, like, and Justin knows this, we're not hiding anything. We would give it to you. The reason that there's options on the SOP is because at the end of the day, like, every niche, every person within those niches are different, right? And so the communication style is different, but there's never like one surefire type of CTA or message that works. There's ones that will work better and work worse, like clearly, and we're just trying to use our shared experience. But there's also one like pretty heavy bias you have to be cognizant of, that when Brian and I are coaching, right, and similar to what Justin is doing, there's a benefit, but also a deficit. The benefit of working with someone like Justin, as an example, is he has such an incredible amount of experience with so many niches with advertising, as much as Brian and Alex have so much experience when it comes to scaling an agency on certain niches. But what ends up happening is that it skews your focus or your understanding of how something is, whether it's played out or not, because you've seen it so many times. But you have to remember that what Justin's insight is, or Brian's insight is, or Alex's insight is very different than what the actual end user is. So let's use the car example, okay? One of those 1,000 car detailers in Chicago, right? Let's say his name is,
auto body repair. I don't know if that's relevant.
Derek Rodriguez, let's say, okay? Derek might have had total in the last 6 months 50 messages, right? But in total, we have reviewed 10,000 messages. So the amount of messages we're reviewing makes us feel like, oh, that message is played out, where Derek has never seen that message, like the end user. So you just want to be cognizant of that and try to make sure that when you listen to Brian or myself or Justin, or frankly, any expert that is giving you advice on anything, just always take with a grain of salt that pretty much anything is worth testing, as long as you have a pragmatic reason behind it. Like, do we think it's worth testing, cold Loom videos? No, like, it's not a good use of your time. If you want to test that out yourself and see the hypothesis and you waste 2 hours, that's on you, right? We're just trying to help you. If you want to go test a message that Brian or Alex or Justin says, we don't really think it's good, but you want to try it, like, what's the harm? Nothing bad is going to happen. So you just have to be cognizant of like opportunity cost and bias a little bit, because, we've done coaching for like 500 to 1,000 agencies, like we hear a lot. So it creates a bubble, like an informed thought process, which has a lot of good, but also there's deficit to it too, that I think is important to just share frankly.
Yeah, and just a last comment on that, and it's a terrible way to say this. It's funny that I'm going to chat GPT to say if it can like figure this out more intelligently or say it more intelligently. But this idea of like, if you innovate on what we're sharing with you and you make it different, you make it your own, it's fun, different, speaks to your personality, your audience better, you will feast because people haven't seen that before. If you just copy the same thing that's been regurgitated all the time, you're going to kind of get what's left over on the table.
Absolutely.
Scraps. So
I wanted to share this really quick before we go. If there's any other questions, you can ask, of course. We have a Facebook group called 7-Figure Sales Savages. Got permission from Justin to share, so all good. It's 7-Figure Culture on the actual Facebook group timeline because we changed the name about a year ago. But I dropped the link below. Brian and I do a show in this group every single Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern. So yes, in 2 hours from now, Brian and I will be live in the same exact office and space, doing a show about selling year-long contracts. We do the show every single Thursday at 3. There's no nothing to purchase or do. The soft CTA we do every week is the same that we'll give you here, which is if you're trying to scale your marketing agency past $10,000 a month, you want to get to $50, $75, $100,000 per month and want one-to-one support and mentorship of it. We provide that as a service. More than happy to chat with you about it. There's no obligation or pressure to do so whatsoever, but that's what we do. That's what we specialize in. We only work with 50 people at a time. I think we have 4 slots right now available. I think we're at 46. So just keep that in the back of your mind, and we're always happy to help as best we possibly can.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, y'all,
for having us, man.
Appreciate y'all. Oh, am I muted? Nope.
You're good. You're good.
I can't believe we almost went an entire thing without someone saying that, and then I screwed it up right at the end. And Heidi, I'm going to send you that. I'll shoot you an email and we'll catch up. So I meant to send you something earlier, but we'll shoot you an email and get caught up. But again, thank you all so much. This was fantastic. I love these types of sessions that actually just go in, like no slides necessary today. Like, let's just go all in, share something actionable. And if every single person on this call needs to do this, like Alex said, block out an hour, give yourself some grace, knock this thing out. It will be a game changer for you. So again, thank you guys for spending the time. I know you have 2 shows today, so thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who stayed on. I think we only had a couple of people drop off throughout the call.
Nice.
So you had them hooked, and man, go do this stuff now. Remember, like knowledge sans application doesn't grow anything. So really get this thing done, and let's do it, y'all.